Hey there, Jeff. I know this, I'm not sure if this is any easier than me typing a response to you, but I thought it was maybe a little bit more in depth than I could get just by typing it. It's the array index is your question, and I hope that that's correct, that I'm reading your question right, that you're having the issue with, and that's because it's a moving target. So the index of an array moves. So when we so let me start at the beginning. So what I have here is the exact um, same names array I used in one of the previous examples. If you want me to get a new example put together, I will. It's just that this was still on my desktop and I thought I could come in here and do this quickly. So I have a 12 string array called names array, right? And here with the number inside of the ellipses, the parens, right? That is going to indicate to the next developer in the chain, or you, or to me, that there are 12 names in total in this array. Now, the index of the array is any one of these numbers 1 through 12. So all I have for us here is this little do loop, right? Because if I know as a developer, which I do here on line 15, that names array has 12 elements in it. I can start at 1 and I can go to 12, and that's what we're doing here in this do loop. So index equals 1 to 12. So that means I'm going to iterate through each one, 1 through 12, through each one of these elements in my array. So an element is just single any single data point in the array. I'm going to try and do this without using the word element to define element. We'll see how much coffee I've had, whether or not I'm going to be successful. So here on line 17, I'm going to enter in through my loop, right? So I'm going to start at 1, and this one here corresponds to this one here. So the only thing this particular do loop is going to aim to do is simply print out the index number, and secondly, it's going to print out the actual data that's contained in that index number. So what's going to happen is we're going to enter in this first time on loop index number 1, and it's going to display index. So I'm just going to come down here and kind of show you what the display is going to. So the display is number 1, and then we're going to have, the text that's inside of here, right? So what's going to display is one's name is, just like this, and then because this is outside of our, not parentheses, but outside of our quotation marks, and remember, 2 quotation marks is for outside of the system, single quotes would be for inside of the system. This is what I think you're having an issue with, is what does this mean when we say array at index, whatever. So this time around, index is 1, right? So this suggests to our system that we are going to display the contents of array names at, and what the system is really seeing here is 1, right? Because index here and here is equal to 1 in our first loop. So there it is highlighted again. So then the system is going to come here and it's going to get from our names array the value that is stored there, and that is Junebauer. So it's going to print just like so. The next time around, we're going to have something similar, but because index changes, because we are iterating, right? So because this is a do loop, at the bottom here of whatever our code block is, index is going to be incremented. So the next time through, index is going to be equal not to 1 but to 2. So this time around, when this particular statement prints, it's going to say 2's name, because this time it's 2. So index this time equals 2. And this time, because index is 2, and we are looking for the contents of names array at 2. That's Frankie McIntyre. The little man gave me a cold this week, so I'm trying not to be nasal and failing miserably. So this time around, Frankie McIntyre is the value that is stored in the array element number 2. So we'll do it one more time, just to beat this horse to death. This time around, when this particular line of code completes, we're going to come back up here to our do statement. This time around, index is going to be 3. So this time around, index is going to be 3 because we have incremented our counter, and we're just calling that counter index. And this time, Bruce Chase's name is going to be the value that is stored in names array at index, and this time index is 3. So that's what's going to print there, is Bruce Chase. So that's really what it means when we're looking at the index of an array. The index is just a particular number, so it's 1 through 12 in this particular case. If I have a names array with 30 values in there, the indices can go from 1 to 30 or from 0 to 29, whichever nomenclature for array numbering it is that you use. So it's a moving target, right? Because for each time it is that you are looking at a use case, you're going to look at a different value for what that index is. And again, it's just what number are we talking about? So array, or names array rather, at index 9 is Layla Gonzalez. Array names at index, and we'll just change this here to 10, we're referring to Samir Bush, and so on and so forth. So if this doesn't help, let me know, and we're going to give it another shot.